Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Marvel Rivals Invisible Woman. I wanted to put this video out as a quick tips and tricks guide to get started with her kit. She is the first of two characters that are here in the first half of Marvel Rivals Season 1. We got Invisible Woman, who we're going to be breaking down today. And we also have Mr. Fantastic, which we'll have another beginner's tips and tricks guide on as well. So if you don't want to miss that video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications because we've been posting tons of Marvel Rivals content. But nonetheless, today is all about Invisible Woman. I'm going to be breaking down her kit in detail. I've been able to spend some time with her in the practice range with the test build that us Marvel Rivals creator partners have been given, and with that I've been able to discover a lot of nuance with her kit. I hope this stuff helps you out so you can get out of the gates day one with your right foot forward, and hopefully helps you have a better understanding of her kit and overall play style so that you have a smoother experience. Now this is very beginner stuff because it's only information that I've been able to discover on my own, and I'm sure as the rest of the world gets their hands on Invisible Woman and is finally able to spend limitless amounts of time with her, I'm sure plenty more will be discovered, and I'll be sure to share that with you guys when I find that out too. But without further ado, let's get into the video. And I do stream every day on Twitch as well. Link to that will be in the description if you guys want to check me out over there. Let's get into her kit. I will say right out of the gates that out of all the strategists that are in this game, I actually think Invisible Woman is probably the straight up most fun, if not highest skill gap strategist that we have available right now. Her and Loki both have really deep mechanics that allow for some serious outplay. Loki having his clones, Invisible Woman being able to bamboozle people, kind of fleeing off the scene and disappearing and then reappearing at a moment's notice. First up, we're going to talk about Invisible Woman's left click, her Orb Projection. I'm a big fan of this ability. It actually ticks damage twice, so it's kind of like a Luna Snow left click where it goes tick 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 tick, and then it also heals allies. It's not hit scan like Luna Snow though. This is projectile, but the heals are very potent. Once again, I'll let this Galactabot get down to low HP, and you can see how potent the heal is and how quickly it heals them up. It's very strong. I think my favorite part about this left click though, and it's something you guys should make an effort to utilize as much as possible, kind of like Moon Knight, it punishes clumped up and mosh pitted together targets. If you have enemies lined up, it passes through targets and you'll actually deal damage to anybody for the full extension of the ability's range. This left click has a range of 30 meters. It's not hit scan, and once you pass 30 meters, it no longer connects to targets. So once again, they're clumped up, it'll pass through and you'll deal damage to everybody in its line of sight. It's super strong. I actually find Invisible Woman's kit and playstyle at times to be a pretty offensive one of the most offensive strategists out there. Just to touch on her team up ability as well, she does have a team up with the Fantastic Four, two more of which will be coming in the later half of season 1. We have the Human Torch and the Thing coming, but right now she has a 15% healing bonus, which is nice, which aids in her left clicks healing and why it's so potent. But it also has a team up ability with Mr. Fantastic. If you're playing as Mr. Fantastic, you can pop a shield. You don't really need to worry about that playing as Invisible Woman, but it is good to know. The next thing you guys have probably noticed most is that I'm running around and I am invisible. I'm going to break down how her invisibility function and mechanic works because it has some nuance to it and it's very strong if you know how to use it properly. First off, her invisibility. This is a true invis. No enemy can see you. If you've ever come into the practice range with a friend and you turn on friendly fire and they're playing Invisible Woman, they actually full-blown disappear. When I was testing stuff out with my friend in the practice range as we were doing the test server shenanigans, I actually thought he left the range a couple of times because he was playing Invisible Woman. I'm like, where did you go? But this is part of her passive. It's Covert Advance. You enter an invisible state sometime after disengaging from combat and grant yourself healing over time. So disengaging from combat, it either involves you jumping into line of fire and taking damage. If you take damage, you will no longer be invisible. But when you disengage, it takes 5 seconds to reactivate invisibility. This will automatically happen as long as you're not getting shot at, and it grants you an auto heal. The auto heal is pretty quick, but it's also really safe because nobody can see you. So for as long as you're invis, you're basically getting completely free heals. Another thing that'll disengage you from being out of combat is if you yourself attack. So if I attack or I use any of my abilities, I engage into full form again, 5 more seconds, and I'll pop back into invisibility. The invisibility is what brings so much skill gap to her kit and so much outplay potential, because that's not the only way you can toggle invisibility. She actually has a double jump, and the double jump is really nice, not only because it allows you to navigate and get around the map and reach harder places that, you know, some strategists might not be able to get to. This isn't unlimited, by the way. I do have unlimited abilities on right now. I'll turn it off just to show you guys the cooldown timer. If we're running up here and we hit a double jump, you guys can see that it goes on a 6-second cooldown, but the double jump manually initiates a re-invisibility state. So this is something that if you're in combat now and you know you're in trouble, you know you need to get away, or you know you're low health. Let's say I turn it back on here. We're running around. I start getting shot at by a Spider-Man who dives on me and he's landed his uppercut. I'm gonna double jump and suddenly I'm re-invis. It's a really good tool to, you know, avoid the dive that some teams are really potent with. Like, you know, Black Panther, he's pretty menacing to deal with. This is going to make it very hard for Black Panther to actually finish you off. I would always recommend saving this tool as an out, because when you are taking damage outside of this, there's no real true mobility to get out of the scenario as Invisible Woman. This invis period is what saves you. Just to double down on what I said there again, if you're running around and you need to traverse the map, be very cautious of when you do so as well, because if you burn it just for the sake of getting into a better spot, you're not going to have that invisibility in case somebody's up there and you get into an unexpected engagement. Moving on now, we're going to talk about the next extension of her kit, which is her other heal. She basically has two heals. She's got her left click here, which can top people up, and she has a shield, who I'm going to show off on this target first. The shield is something that has 300 HP. It can take 300 HP, and until it does, it is indefinitely there. It will never disappear until destroyed. You can also monitor how much health it has because there's a bar on your screen, and if I were to put it on a target like this and it's taking damage, you can see the shield levels depleting. Not only that, but you saw the Galactobot here started healing. It not only shields your target, but it also heals your targets. This is really nice because it can heal up people who are a little bit deeper in the back line or need heals that are a little bit further away, but it also heals anybody behind the shield. So this isn't something that's exclusive to the person you casted the shield on. It is anybody who decides to huddle on around it. Now this is where the shield becomes a bit more intricate. If I place this shield on somebody and it takes the full amount of damage and gets destroyed, you guys will see the cooldown timer down in the bottom right hand of my screen here. It enters a 6-second cooldown state, leaving me with the only option to heal of my left click. Now this can be dangerous because obviously I don't have another form of healing, but more importantly, it's dangerous because you're not utilizing the full potential of her cooldown management healing system she can do. If I pop this heal on this Galactobot, I can click V to cancel the heal. If I cancel it really quickly, you guys saw there, my shield in the bottom right only goes on a 1-second cooldown. That is extremely fast. And so what you want to be doing with Invisible Woman is constantly placing your shields and manually healing and then canceling your shields. That's where her management gets really intricate, and that's why she's a 4-star difficulty. He's weak, I'm healing, cancel the shield. Oh, somebody else is weak, I'm gonna put it on you, heal, cancel the shield. You're weak, heal, cancel the shield. Managing that force field on a 1-second cooldown makes Invisible Woman an extremely lethal healer. Another tip I wanted to mention with her shield is that if you put the shield on for its duration that it's alive, you can actually just move it to another target. So if you didn't want to recall it, which I'm going to, it didn't fully die there. It only has a 5-second cooldown, so you can kind of gauge, you know, how the cooldowns work. But I put the heal on you, I can move it to you, I can move it to you, I can move it to you. I can endlessly move it for as long as the shield is alive, and then I recall it. It's only got a 4-second cooldown. Now the shield is something that can only be targeted to allies. This isn't something I can just look at and place anywhere on the floor. It's exclusive to targets I cast on, and it will always place in the direction that they're looking, so in front of the target. At first, it's going to be a little bit difficult with Invisible Woman because I don't think a lot of people are going to grasp the concept that they need to huddle the shield in order to get healed. Kind of like people don't do that with Loki clones. Loki clones, you got to stick to them because they're the things that are going to be healing you. But people eventually adjust, get a quick heal, top, cancel. I'm going to cast a heal on you, top, cancel. Okay, for the last half of her kit, this is where I get excited. I came over here just because there's no more shooting targets. We're exclusively dealing damage. Invisible Woman, like I said, is an extremely offensive duelist. She has some pretty strong attacks. First of which we're going to talk about her shift ability. Her shift is an orb that you can cast and it does damage over time. Anybody inside of this orb will start ticking, and as you guys can see, if they stay in it for the full duration, it actually does a decent amount of damage. One quick tip I wanted to note about this: if people like a Magic or Black Panther or Spider-Man jump on you and they're getting in your face, it's actually really effective to just cast this thing down, and then once they're in it, they have to deal with the immediate threat of taking damage, and you can oftentimes double jump out of it. Because they're worried about the fact that they're taking damage, they'll kind of shift their focus from you for a moment, and that invis period is enough to oftentimes escape the threat. Another thing I wanted to note about this ability is that it actually does pull targets towards the center of the orb. It's not very difficult to get out of, but the closer you are to the center of the orb, the stronger it pulls you. Once again, you shouldn't have any serious difficulty trying to get out of this orb, but you will notice that if you are at the center of it or you're trying to pull out of it, you will be a tiny bit slower than you would be at full speed. This isn't something comparable to a horizontal in Apex Legends. It's not sucking the life out of you. You can easily run out of it. Like I said, it's just a subtle slow. Next up, we're going to talk about probably one of my favorite abilities in her entire kit. Honestly, I like all her abilities, but this is the Psionic Force, or her force physics. When you toggle this, it enters into a state at which you can choose to push or pull enemies. I honestly feel like Darth Vader when I activate this ability every time, and it is very strong. First up, we're going to show off the push, which is a left click. You can see it actually launches targets quite far, and if I activate it again, I can choose to pull them, which once again, it's about a 5 meter jump. So 5 meters backwards or 5 meters forward. And not only does it pull the target, but it actually does damage as well. Pretty good damage. Finishes off a target, finishes off a target. Regardless whether you push or pull, it's the same amount of damage. Now, when I was playing in the test server, you can actually do some really hilarious stuff in combination with other characters. I know Spider-Man, he has a combo where he stickies, pulls in, uppercuts, and oftentimes if he doesn't have the Venom team up, it's hard to finish people off. But this Psionic push you can do from quite far away. I'm pretty sure it's a 25 meter distance on it. 30 meters, you lose distance. Once again, 30 meters, you can't hit it. 25 meters, you can hit it. So if you see Spider-Man in the back line and you see he's about to finish off his combo, you can quickly just one tap the enemy and get the kill yourself. But my friend Milty used it in pretty creative ways. You can launch people off the map with Invisible Woman. You see they're near a ledge, just yeet them off the map. This is probably one of the easiest ways to get off the map picks in the game right now, just because it's literally a push-pull dynamic. It doesn't matter where you are. If you see, oh, there's a gap between us, screw it. I'm gonna pull them towards the gap and send them off the map. I can't wait to see all the clips that end up being developed on all the spots on all the maps, because I know there's a ton of places to actually utilize this. Now, some tips offensively and how I like to use her kit in a really cool way is, a lot of times if someone decides to push me and they want to dive on my head, I mentioned that you can pop this and then double jump out to be safe. But let's say you're in a bit more of a scrappy mood and you kind of feel like jumping the duelist who's failed at jumping you 10 times already. You can pop this ability and start dealing heavy damage to enemies. And if you notice the enemy starting to run away, you can pull them back into that orb. So once again, I'm gonna place the orb, I'm dealing damage to the enemy, he's running away, get back in the orb, and then you start dealing even more damage. Just those little ticks in combination with your left click deal a ton of damage. Once again, I'm coming in here, we're doing this, he's ticking, oh, you're running away, come back, we're doing more damage, and you're getting really quick picks on Invisible Woman. This is also really good because if people are diving on your head and they're not respecting you, you can just push them away to give yourself a bit of space and hopefully push them into maybe even your teammates. It's a really good breathing tool that will either give you the space you need to survive or close the gap to secure kills. Now, we all know Spider-Man has the get over here ability to pull people towards him, and Bucky has the grappling hook, which can pull targets as well. Those are really effective tools at mispositioning opponents and securing picks a lot of times. But Invisible Woman's ability is got to be the easiest to use out of any of them. You barely even have to aim it. I can aim directly to the right and it hits. Like, I barely have to be accurate with this thing in order to actually pull or push the enemies. And this is where I feel like Invisible Woman can really take advantage of mispositioned targets. If they're already out of position, this ability is going to really put them out of position. And like I said, oftentimes that's all you need, those extra couple seconds or moments where they're not getting healed to secure them. But enough about the force, we're going to talk about the final part of our kit, which is her melee. They actually went all out with her melee. I'm a really big fan of it. It has a 3 combo, so it's a punch, and then a force push. So that force push actually pushes enemies away from you. Once again, we're gonna go push, and create a bit of space. My friend Milty and I were messing around the range, but he's the one who actually came up with this, and it's a cool combination you can intertwine with your left click, because the left click, once again, it's punch, 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 punch. But throwing in punches in between is a good way to get that free extra damage from the free force push that can oftentimes initiate free one-shot potentials for your Psionic Force. So once again, if we're gonna left click, we throw in a melee, left click, throw in a melee, left click, throw in a melee. On the third one, if someone's close enough to you, you'll actually be able to force push on that one. So once again, we'll try that out over here. We'll go melee, 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 and then we can hit him with a force finish. It's a nice little combo. Once again, shout out to my boy Milty. He's the one who came up with that. But it is a nice way to maximize your damage output and once again, keep people away from you. And so obviously we still have her ultimate ability, which I'll go over in just a moment, but I wanted to break down just what her overall playstyle looks like first, kind of her combat loop, because I feel like this is a good kind of area to do it. So obviously you're sitting back, you're healing allies. Oh, he's weak, I'm gonna pop a shield, heal, I'm canceling shield. Oh, you're weak, shield, cancel shield. Oh, I'm gonna keep the shield on you, I'm gonna move the shield to you. So you're cycling through your heals, you're doing so effectively, you're managing your cooldowns. Next thing you know, oh my god, a Spider-Man. He's jumping on my head. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna pop this ability down here, and I'm gonna start ticking away at him. If he chooses to stay in the orb, I mean, you guys can see how quickly we take out 250 HP squishies. He jumps to me again, I'm gonna throw the orb down. Oh my god, he's not respecting me. I'm gonna push him away. Get the hell away from me, Spider-Man. I'm healing my allies. Maybe this time I don't even feel like engaging. Spider-Man jumps me. Oh no, I'm just gonna double jump out of there. I'm re-invis again. I'm gonna gather the little bit of health I lost, and I can get right back to healing. Popping more shields, managing cooldowns, popping more shields, moving shields, healing up multiple targets with the same shield. I'm healing my teammates. This guy's getting a bit overcommitted. I'm gonna pull him towards us. I secured the pick. This guy's also overcommitted. I'm gonna pull him towards us. Oh, now he's out of position. My team secures the pick. I'm healing my teammates, and what do you know? There's been a Hulk griefing us all game, and he won't respect us, so we're gonna push him back a little bit. Give us a bit more breathing room, give us a bit more space, maybe allow some of my range duelists to, you know, have a bit more range to work between the two. Let's see, this guy jumped me, and I'm gonna throw an orb down to protect myself, and he's running away. I'm gonna pull him back in. I'm gonna finish him off. We can get aggressive with Invisible Woman. She's a very effective healer with a bit of skill gap, and overall that's kind of how I see your gameplay loop working. Once again, I just get really excited for these lineups. Like, you see a bunch of people rocking around on a crowd on a point, and you can just mow your little attack through all of them. And so I hope I've given some tips so far that have helped you out and kind of give you guys a full understanding of how to utilize her kit as a whole and kind of combine different elements of her kit into one offensive or defensive playstyle. I really do like this combination of her left click with her melee because I think it allows for some really cool finishes. So to finish off this tips and tricks video, let's talk about her ultimate, because there are some scenarios where I do find it a lot more beneficial than others. It is a healing ability, kind of like all the other strategists in the game. It's a giant circle that heals you quite extensively inside of it. There are two markers. There's the giant outer circle, and then there's the little inner circle. I've tested it quite extensively in a lot of different scenarios, whether you're casting it on an ally or you're casting it on an enemy. If you put an enemy in that center circle or the outer circle, there is no difference. I think that the inner circle is literally just an indicator for just to help you have a more informed idea of where your actual center circle is going to be landing, so you have an idea of where the overall circle is going to be. No extra damage for putting enemies in that center circle, no extra healing for putting allies in the center circle. It's just a visual indicator. And so when you cast this, it only lasts 8 seconds. You guys can see the timer on my screen here. The beautiful part about it is that anybody on the outside cannot look in. They will not see anything, but any enemies inside will obviously be able to see you as well. And so that's why you got to be careful when you use it, because I feel like the safest thing to do when you are going against this ultimate sometimes is to just get inside of it so you can see where the enemy is. Because Invisible Woman is Invisible Woman, I don't know why, but I've oftentimes forgotten that this circle even heals you, because it doesn't really glow or anything like that. It's just, it kind of just feels like you're in an invisible dome, but it, trust me when I say it heals you quite a bit. One more quick tip I wanted to share with this ultimate ability is that it actually slows down enemies. So we got moving bots here, which is good because I'll show off the slow effect. Anybody who walks into this dome after it's casted will get slowed, and anybody who tries to exit it once it's been casted will also get slowed. This is also active upon casting. So let's say you have a giant circle of enemies around you, and you know there's a bunch of people inside of it. If I cast it and people are in it, Anybody in it, when it gets casted, will initially get slowed as well, and then get slowed again when trying to exit. It's not super powerful, but it is something to note, and kind of a penalty people have to pay the price for of getting casted in your ult or trying to get out of it. I wanted to come back over here just to show you guys the potency of how quickly the heal heals people. You're basically invincible in it. Once again, we get some low HP targets here, and upon cast, you're pretty much fully topped up, just like so. And this is what damage looks like inside the ultimate. Very strong, basically like a Luna ult, kind of like a Mantis ult. It's just a lot of heals. Also, I forgot to show it, but this is what the team up ability looks like for Mr. Fantastic. If you care as an Invisible Woman main, it just provides a little bit of extra bonus to your teammate. It is a nice bit of HP, so you know, takes workload off your hands. You don't gotta heal them as much. But something to note about her ultimate is that although it is a healing ability, it doesn't last as long as a Luna ultimate. So it's not something that should be exclusively thought of as a heal. You really do want to take advantage of its invisible capabilities. I think it's a great way to take space if you're having trouble pushing a point. You can cast it a bit more forward, knowing you could initiate into it, and maybe their backline or some more rangy DPSs won't be able to engage and help their teammates out, like their tanks who are already in the orb, and they'll actually have to force forward and go through a slow penalty in order to re-engage with their team, or they're just going to be useless sitting on the outside. So it is a great space taker. Or if you're in a last minute payload situation and a team is really trying to make a big push, it can also be really beneficial to just cast this, give yourself the instant advantage of them not knowing where you are and being able to mow down free damage as they try to make their way towards you. And if they do inevitably push through because they're trying to get to a point, you already have the massive advantage of damage being outputted. I think the worst way you could exclusively think of her ultimate as is just a basic heal, because like I said, it doesn't last as long as the other characters. If everybody's on a point and I'm like, oh, everyone needs heal, just cast it. Like, you don't get any invisibility benefits. Obviously, you cast it a slow effect on everybody in it initially, but in terms of its sole capabilities, it's the least effective way you could use it. And so yeah, that's Invisible Woman as visible as possible from my perspective. I try to give you guys as many tips and tricks as I could regarding all of her kit and how to intertwine the two and make her playstyle work as one cohesive build. I really do hope this video helped you out and gets you started on Invisible Woman on your right foot forward. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, a like is always appreciated. We will be putting out a Mr. Fantastic guide as well, so look forward to that, and subscribe if you guys want to be notified when that goes out. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great time in season 1, and we will most definitely be streaming our rank grind in season 1 all day long. So if you guys want to catch me over there and maybe catch some Invisible Woman gameplay live, I'll see you guys over on the Twitch. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Keep up, stay up. Peace out.